Welcome to the Struggle Bus Family Podcast, where we share real stories from the messy, beautiful, exhausting, and joyful world of caregiving. We're here to build a community that supports, educates, and uplifts caregivers and families of individuals with disabilities and complex needs. Whether you're a parent, sibling, educator, or just someone who loves a caregiver, there's a seat for you on this bus. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Struggle Bus Family Podcast. Just a brief reminder for those who don't remember or are new to the show. It's not a show. It's not a show, is it? Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Struggle Bus Family. For those that aren't familiar with us, we're on a mission to create an inclusive, supportive community for families raising individuals with disabilities and navigating complex caregiving. This is where we ride the ups, downs, and detours of life together. Today is a little special. It's a very, very impromptu ad hoc episode. Got a special guest with us today from out of town, Channing. As I know you're well aware, we like to start each episode with a struggle, strive, or thrive. So do you have, you don't have to do all three, or, do you have any one of those you might like to share for the week? A struggle, strive, or thrive?
My strive is to get more shit done.
Fair enough. I think we can all do that one.
Building some motivation, especially leaving here this week. So I need to get some shit done and start going.
We all need that 25th hour in the day, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, Channing doesn't know this yet, but we're going to talk about what it means to have an inclusive workspace, specifically hiring individuals with special needs and disabilities. So for those that don't know, which is everybody, I think, at this point, Channing works at a restaurant. I won't name names. I'll let you choose what you want to name and not. And as part of that, she's in charge of hiring. And we're having a conversation a little earlier today about that, and I thought it was interesting, so I jotted some notes, and here we are. So
here we are.
That's right. Surprise. So, tell me a little bit about that decision-making process, for hiring someone that has disabilities or needs. I mean, do they just walk in off the street, fill out an application, or does this go to some sort of agency or like a local community governmental type thing, or how's that all? What's it look like?
Well, we've had it happen in several different ways, a company, whatnot, but usually it's because we've been established. We're a family-owned restaurant because we've been established for so long.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these kids, these individuals have grown up with us. So I think they're
coming there with their family as a
right.
Okay,
right.
Yeah.
So I think their parents and guardians feel like we're a safe space from the start.
Right.
A lot of these kids, it's their first job, first interview. So that's exciting for me. So I always like to find out and be ready. I do sometimes reach out to the parent or the guardian, just, is there anything I should
know about? Yeah.
I've had someone that comes in that very jumpy with sounds and stuff like that. And, it's a restaurant. So, you've got to find a different interview spot and everything. But
that probably plays into, we'll get to it, but that probably plays into what role or job function you do as well, right?
Oh, it's loud. It's kitchen work. Even though we're a family-owned restaurant, we're not high-paced like your corporate. It still gets a little crazy. But usually it's, it's just parents bringing in their kids for first-time jobs, seeing if I can give them an opportunity.
Okay, pretty cool. And on the topic of jobs, what type of jobs or roles, or what are some of the things that these folks can do to help out there?
I entertain, so usually dish is the main area to put them in because it's
Dish.
easy, like a dishwasher, bussing tables and everything. It's easier for them to, well, it's safer. It's a safer environment until you know their abilities and capabilities. You know, I don't want to put someone in the kitchen with pizza blades or, you know, knives, but it gives them a chance to get a feel because they're behind the
Right.
scenes of the kitchen. So they can walk around
Okay.
and kind of get a feel for the place and speak up if they want to do something. But it gives me an opportunity to see how they interact, not only with the work environment, the customers, the
Okay.
employees.
So are they, I was just gonna ask, so are they primarily back of house or are they front of house too? With
They're going to be primarily front of the
oh,
house.
okay.
And
Well, and maybe let me make sure.
well, and that depends.
Well, I was gonna say, let me make sure I've got because I'm not a restaurateur, right? So I want to make sure I got the lingo right. To me, front of the house means customer facing.
Well, a dishwasher is, I say there's two important positions in the restaurant. It's the cashier and the dishwasher. They have the most customer interaction. So I have to think about that. And a lot of these kids that, you know, I employ, they're just happy. They're ready to go out and
Right.
say hi
Mhm.
and grab a plate off the table. So that's what, and there's some that are super reserved and they would rather just spray the water on the dishes.
That'd be my kids. And then for all these, I'll say kids, although we were talking earlier, and they're not just
There's,
kids,
right.
but for these folks that you do that do come in and end up interviewing and getting a job. Are there? I mean, you already talked about kind of knowing their abilities and I'll say challenges, like you mentioned, loud sounds, but are there accommodations that you have to make, in terms of how they can perform the job, or and I'll lead a little bit because we were talking about this earlier too, but um, like one of the things you had mentioned is kind of help them um, situations too, that can be a challenge, and you were talking about some of the things and tactics you have for that.
Well, and that's kind of, I enjoy mentorship.
Hmm.
So I kind of take that under my wing,
Sure.
but I can delegate different people that will help them
Okay.
with whatever. Really excited. Like I can help them with that.
Okay.
You know, it's just getting the right person with the right
And
fit.
and what's been the reaction for the other team members or workers there?
So far, it's been really positive, and that's been something that's always in the back of my mind when I hire that way is, you know, I work with, you know, I think my youngest right now is 15, my oldest, um, 40. So there's a wide, you know, raise, but, you know, it's with the younger kids, I work the high school
Right.
kids. But I mean, I'm fortunate that I have a really good group of kids.
And a little off topic, I guess, but for the folks you've hired that have needs or disabilities, how long has what's the longest one of them has been working there?
So we have a lady, we call her Baby. Her name's Jackie. I met her when I was in college. Lebanon has a group or company that's called Prospect. So what they do is, you know, people with special needs, disabilities, they help them find jobs that are fitting for them.
Right.
So when I met Baby, she was working in the cafeteria at Cumberland, and she's a fun lady. And before I started working where I'm working now, when I got hired, she was working there.
Hmm.
So I knew her from there. She's I think 58. She's been there probably 17 years
At
at
the
her location.
wow. Okay.
and she's just a pistol.
And what's her role there?
She's a dishwasher.
Okay.
She does some cleaning, and everybody loves baby.
Cool.
Yeah, we've had multiple, not just the young kids, but we've had some older individuals that have come to us that have done well.
Okay. And then I already asked about the coworker perception. How about the customer or the community reaction? What's that been like?
Fantastic, honestly. I think we're fortunate in that aspect. I think it helps being family owned, and being a business that's so community involved.
Right.
So people want to come out. They're rooting for their own. So
Cool.
it's been really
That's
positive.
cool. Do you think this is, I mean, because you've mentioned family owned a few times now, do you think this is something that can, maybe not one for one, but can translate to a more corporate, I don't know what you'd call it in the restaurant industry, but like a chain restaurant?
I do. It's all about the willingness to be there and, see what they can do.
Mhm.
Be their big buddy.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, it can.
Okay. What's the biggest struggle that you've had, with this? I'm not gonna say program, but in doing this, what's the biggest struggle you've had as a hiring manager?
As a hiring manager,
Yeah, well, as someone in your role, your whole role, not just hiring them.
I think my biggest role is just, or the biggest struggle is just taking, the patience to really understand
Okay.
and developing a game plan.
Uh-huh.
So, it takes a little bit of time, a little hands on, trying to figure out, you know, side by side. So, as a manager running the place, you don't necessarily, you know, think that you have that time, but you have to find that time.
Yep, exactly. I think that applies everywhere, not just in
Yeah.
this environment or this field, right? How about for these employees? If you had to speculate, what would you think is the biggest struggle for them?
The same thing, patience, learning how to communicate and wanting to.
Right.
Some would rather just, do their thing and not. But
Yep.
I urge all of my employees to interact and just be nice, be kind, say more.
Say more. What are you most proud about or proud of for yourself and for them as part of? I mean, I'll say doing this. I mean, my view on this though is this should be normalized, right? Which is why
It should
I
be.
want to talk about it. But unfortunately, it's not. The fact that you're doing it and people are thriving at it, right? I mean, she's been there for, what would you say, 17 years or something like
Yeah,
that.
I mean, forever.
What are you most proud of? What do you want everyone to know about the successes that you and they have had together there?
Well, that it's possible. Just gives a little bit of time. Got prime examples, and these people are just happy to be given an opportunity and to receive, you know, a fan base, really, because people love them.
Yeah.
They love to interact. They, are treated just like everybody else.
Yep.
Can't be scared of it.
Yep.
Everybody needs to know. I don't think so. This is all impromptu, so hopefully I covered the bases.
All right. Well, thank you for joining, not knowing what we're going to do or talk about until you got here and sat down in that chair literally before we started.
Yeah.
So, and thank you all for watching. Obviously this is a journey for not just us as parents and caregivers or our kids with challenges, but members of the community as well. And it's our goal here at Struggle with Family to normalize that and to demonstrate that these individuals, our kids, can contribute in a meaningful way to society.
Absolutely.
And thank you for joining. And
You're so
being an
welcome.
unknown willing participant in this. So
Happy to help.
thank you. So with that, we invite you guys to comment if you agree with this, if you think we're crazy, if you have ideas for other episodes or topics you'd like us to talk about, let us know. And other than that, we'll see you all next time.